First of all, Sheriff Corley, your name.
I'm Joe Corley. I'm sheriff from 1981 until 1992.
What do you think the change in law enforcement right now? I mean, what it was then compared to what it is now? What have you seen, and what's the biggest change you've seen?
Well, number one, technology is so much better today than it was when I worked, and when I started in 1980, we didn't have DNA. So, you know, we've seen an explosion of technology, and of course our new facilities out here. And I started with the old jail on top of the courthouse. Had 50 beds, and I could legally house 42.
We're up to 1,000 now.
Yeah, oh yeah, and you know, some weekends on Sunday morning we'd have 120 up there. That's how we got in trouble with the state of Texas.
What of those years, what's the greatest memory you've got, or anything in particular comes to mind?
Well, just I don't know if there's any one particular event that stands out, but you know, I consider it a tremendous honor to get to be the sheriff of this county, and I hadn't changed my mind today. It's quite an honor we got to do a lot of nice things for people and help people, and that's a privilege.
Did you ever think the county would grow like this?
I never did. I remember driving down 75 to Houston, and they had the right-of-way cleared for 45. And it seemed like a half a mile across, and I thought nobody will ever need this much road. And my goodness, look at it today.
Right. First of all, your name?
Guy Williams.
Tell me what do you think? When you were in office from when to when?
I started in '93. I was the sheriff after Sheriff Corley, and I was sheriff till 2004.
What do you think of the changes from back then to what it is today?
I started in 1976, and the difference is night and day compared to what's available now to law enforcement. I think back in the day that there was more support for law enforcement than there is now, but there's more criminals out there. So, you know, you worry about taking care of the good people, not the bad people.
What about memories? What story, or what can you think of from back then that you most remember?
Well, I remember when I had first started, Lieutenant Billy Rogers, Constable Albert Williams, and I went to Houston to arrest some guys that robbed a convenience store out of 1484. And I remember we were down in a part of Houston I'd never been before, and the convict that we had in the back of the vehicle had been to prison 2 or 3 times. He reaches up and locks the door. And I said, "What do you lock the door for?" He goes, "Man, this is a bad neighborhood." Well, I'm a young patrolman, and I'm down here with this guy, and when I got a convict tell me it's a bad neighborhood, that always stands out in my mind. But I think the Mcso Everett case while I was sheriff was probably the biggest. I used to dream about that case, and after Hilton Crawford was put to death at the prison system, I said I quit having dreams about that. That case really affected Montgomery County. It affected me personally.
And which one was this now?
That's when Mcso Everett was kidnapped by Hilton Crawford. He killed him. We found the little man's body over in Louisiana. That was in 1996, 97, somewhere in there. So.
What do you think about this museum now?
Oh man, this is a dream come true. I mean, Fatty's done an excellent job doing this, and it's stuff that we've had over the years, and I think every sheriff has thought about it, but thanks to Fatty and Sheriff Gage, it finally come to peace. And one day, you know, Sheriff Henderson will have a case down here. So.
I appreciate it. What do you think of this museum they put together?
Well, I think it's great. We've got a detective Risk that came in and took the bull by the horns on this thing and did a lot of research and went back and you know, to Sheriff Reeves' tenure and got information and some things that we were able to put in this museum, and then same way with Sheriff Corley and Sheriff Williams, and then of course we're here and we gathered up some things for ours, and I tell you, it's an honor to be able to leave here at the end of this year and leave something behind that shows what we've been able to do while we was in office here at the Sheriff's Office.
What What do you think from the time you took office to now, and basically the change in law enforcement that you've seen over the years?
Oh, you know, I started in 1970 in Houston, and there's no comparison in law enforcement, especially, you know, where we're.
You started in Houston.
Yeah, started in Houston in 1970, came to Montgomery County in 82. Joe Cooley was the sheriff, and he gave me my first job here in Montgomery County, and I stayed with him until he retired. Sheriff Williams came in. I worked for Sheriff Williams, and then I ran for sheriff and took office in 2005. And so I've been here 12 years. Of course, Sheriff Reeves was the longest running sheriff here, and then Sheriff Corley was in 12 years. Sheriff Williams was in 12, and now I'm finishing up 12, and Rand Henderson will be taking office the first of the year.
Another dozen years there, huh?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, appreciate it.